Hello, welcome or welcome back to Pope's Plates. I'm going to fix something today that would be my grandmother's favorite. She was a big coffee cake person. She had her own recipes that made from scratch. This one is actually using a cake mix, so we're cheating a little bit here. It's a white cake mix, but you add cinnamon to it and you put apples on top of it. Now, there are a couple of other things you could do if you wanted to. Let me get some scissors. This recipe actually calls for a glaze that we're going to make later with confectioner sugar, but you could also make sort of a crunchy top if you chose to do that. That would be pretty good too, but this recipe is just calling for the glaze. So we've got the cake mix. We're going to add a teaspoon of ground cinnamon. I'm going to try to measure it properly. That's one of the problems. I'm not a very good baker because you've got to be pretty exact. And exact is not necessarily what I always do best. We also are going to add sour cream, a cup of sour cream. You actually add a little bit of water too, and you add some eggs. I'm going to have to see if Jennifer's here to help today. See if she might be able to get 3 eggs out of the refrigerator for me. Okay. 1 cup of sour cream. Calls for 1/3 of a cup of water. Just is going to loosen this up a little bit. And we've got 3 eggs. All right, thanks, Jennifer. I appreciate your getting the eggs for me. We're going to put the eggs in. You don't need to do this one at a time because we're going to use the hand mixer and really blend all this stuff up. But you're not going to blend it so much that some of the flour that's in this cake mix does the bad thing, which is releases gluten or whatever. All right. I'm going to start on low so that I don't get it all over the place. I want to make sure that we get the eggs blended in well. This is going to be a pretty thick batter. You put it in a 9 by 13 greased pan. You're going to bake it at 350 for about 45 minutes or 50 minutes or so. I'm going to spread. I'm going to get this off. You spread the apples on after you put the batter in your baking dish. Let's do this. You can tell that the cinnamon's in there. That's pretty good. All right, that's wonderful. Now I'm going to set this aside for just a minute. We need to grease our pan. And I have got some Crisco here. You could use butter, but I've got Crisco. My mother and grandmother were big believers in using Crisco for practically everything. We had the big containers of Crisco at our house. I have never used that much of it. But you know, we did fried chicken too a lot when I was growing up, and that's not something that we do today as much as we did 50, 60 years ago when I was a kid. All right, got that greased. And I'm going to put the batter in the dish here and even it out as best I can. I can smell the cinnamon. It smells good. And you can see the little bitty flecks of brown in the batter, which is the cinnamon. All right, I'm gonna have to think about how to do this best. Okay, I think that's probably about as much as I'm gonna be able to get. While I'm finishing this, I'm gonna go ahead and preheat the oven. My oven preheats fairly quickly, so I wanna make sure that I've got it ready when the batter is ready. I'm going to even this out. Let me get this out of your way here so you can see better what I'm doing. Okay, that's pretty even, I think. Got it to the sides. All right, let's put this off. And we've got a can of apple pie filling. And this goes over the top of the cake before it bakes. I'm going to spread it out a little bit. You have to sort of take it a little bit at a time because you can't really spread it. It's going to mess up the batter if you do that. So we've got to take just a little bit at a time and put it on the cake as we go here. Sure does smell good though. Sort of reminds me almost of Christmas time, the cinnamon does. All right, we're almost there. A little bit more, one more piece here. Get that guy out. Okay, that is about as evenly spaced as I can get it without disturbing the batter too much. Now what's going to happen when this bakes is that the cake is going to rise up around the apples and we'll end up with cake and apples sort of all together and put the glaze on it after it's done. It needs to cool off just a little bit before we put the glaze on. So we'll be back when the cake is baked and we're prepared to do the glaze. Well, our cake is out of the oven. It's cooled off a little bit. It really is pretty. And now it's time to make the drizzle that's going to go on the top. I'm going to take a cup approximately of confectioner sugar and just a little bit of milk. You don't want to add too much right away because you don't want this to get too runny. We'll add more as we need to as we go along. Just a little bit at a time. Yeah, a little bit more. You want this so that it's not runny, but will dribble. See, we're almost there. I think I'm going to add just a touch more. Okay. You certainly could do this with a spoon too. Probably would be more effective with a spoon. I don't happen to have a spoon handy, so. I'm sure there are people that could be very artistic with all of this and have beautiful designs over the top of their coffee cake. I go more for taste than design and beauty. One more little bit over here on the side. Okay. That looks beautiful to me. Charlie. Frankly, I think my grandmother would be proud of this. It certainly looks delicious. If you like this recipe, please let us know in the comments below. We'd like for you to like us and subscribe. And until we see you again, let's keep cooking.